I'm Barrie-Louise Switzen. Welcome to the Women's Connection. The Women's Connection is a program about women and obstacles that they've had to face in their lifetimes. It is about how they survived, but more important, it's how they triumphed. Our guest today has not let her accidents of health keep her down. She runs, skips ropes, swims, and this is just to keep in shape for one of her many activities. Her professional life, she's a literary agent. Let us welcome Betty Marks. Hello,
Hi,
Betty.
Barry. Nice to be here.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
One of your well, not one of your jobs, but your professional career is a literary agent.
Yes, I've been an agent for a number of years, and I've had the privilege of working with authors in every conceivable walk of life, and I take great pride in many of the books that I've placed.
Is there any that we would recognize readily? I mean, it's like...
Oh, you might, but I don't really have any favorites. They were none of them bestsellers, but they were all fine quality. I have many photographers, very fine photographers. I have people who are cartoonists, people who have written cat books. I myself have written 4 cookbooks. I have other cookbook writers. I have novelists. I have a gay novelist. It's just a complete span of people who write about world events and anything that I feel is something that the world should be able to have.
That's wonderful, because you do cover quite a broad spectrum here. I think that's marvelous.
Yes, the people are fascinating, and I like to be able to get their information out to the world at large.
Oh, that's wonderful. Too bad we didn't bring some more books here.
Yes,
I know.
well, I would have brought my entire bookshelf.
No, we don't. Unfortunately, not this show. Another show.
All right.
You've had many obstacles in your life, but you've survived them, you've been happy, and you've succeeded in numerous things. How have you managed to accomplish all this?
Well, life is not a dress rehearsal. This is life. And life is comprised of very many obstacles. And I just consider it's like a horse race. I mean, you just have to jump those hurdles and get over them. I think that a positive attitude in approaching anything that befalls you in the course of your life, you have to pay attention to it, you have to take care of it, and you have to proceed with your life, and you have to try to enjoy every single day to its maximum.
Well, you certainly do portray that. Well, how have you faced most of your obstacles? Or what do you consider most of your obstacles? What have they been?
I suppose that I had obstacles to overcome as a child. And I think that every life, every person has an obstacle, one perhaps more than others. I know what my obstacles were, so I can deal with that. I don't want to trade with anybody else. But I've had, I suppose, childhood difficulties in school and achievement. And I've had the loss of a very dear brother. And there are marriage difficulties, and there are divorce difficulties, and there are relationship difficulties, and then there are difficulties of health, which one also has to overcome.
Well, how do you face these problems, and what do you do to overcome them?
Well, if something serious befalls me, and I have had many, I just try to deal with the immediacy of the situation. I take, for example, I had a broken neck in a swimming pool accident. I had a hysterectomy. I had, usual catalog of women's difficulties. I had contracted diabetes as a woman of 50 in what I consider the prime of my life. I developed breast cancer, and I went through a year of chemotherapy. And I just consider that many of these things, I had to deal with them, get over the immediate problem, choose my kind of medicine, make certain that I had proper exercise, proper food, proper relaxation, that I went to my friends, that I had love in my life, that my friends and my relatives were supportive of me. I'm very public about things that happen to me, and I ask for love from
That's
people,
wonderful.
and I feel it helps you to overcome many obstacles.
At least you're not alone. You've got a warm family, warm support family.
Exactly.
Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
Which is so important, because I know so many people who feel that they're alone, and if they had this love from anybody, let alone an intimate group of people, I think they would be much happier in their lives.
Yes, you can create your own support group, and it gives you strength. gives you strength, and you know that you're not alone. And the more that you talk with people, you find out that you are not alone, that everybody has something.
That's true, and it's amazing what some of their catastrophes have been, and it's like when you look at their lives and you look at yours and you say, I'm not so bad off.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, you've had diabetes for over 15 years.
Yes.
Okay, now it wasn't until 1987 that you wrote your first cookbook. What made you finally decide to write your cookbook?
Well, when I found that I had this disease, which actually I had dreaded, I had to radically change my lifestyle. I had a kind of an active life, and I, went out, kept late hours. I went out, carousing and drinking and dancing and having. I was in the middle of an international brownie contest.
Ah.
I had to cut them out, so I radically altered my eating lifestyle and my lifestyle. And I began to discover new ways to cook food, and all of my friends whom I entertained said, oh, what is it that you eat that we don't? And I said, nothing. I just do it and make healthy food and make it into delicious, attractive meals. So I decided that I would put all of this in a cookbook, and I tested many recipes on many of my friends. I entertained often, and the result was a number of books specifically for people with diabetes, although anybody can use them. This one was called Light and Easy Diabetes Cuisine, and it was
great.
in large print,
Which
so
is
that
wonderful.
anyone with any kind of a visual problem
That's
can
yours
read.
truly.
And then, since I got so busy with doing all of these many things in my life, I don't like to spend any wasted time over a stove. So I wrote the Microwave Diabetes Cookbook, and that one
Fabulous.
does everything in the microwave. It doesn't just warm up a cup of coffee. And I find that I can prepare delicious and healthful meals very quickly.
Well, I know when I was looking through the book, I haven't had a chance to make any of your recipes yet. There was a lot of helpful hints in there, which I found fascinating because it would be great for the novice cook as well as the experienced cook.
Yes, it's all just basic, frank, tasteful, and attractive food.
Now, one of the things I noticed in there that you substitute fruit for sugar.
Yes.
And I was always under the impression that fruit was a no-no for somebody. No?
No, just refined sugar is a no-no, but fruit is quite an acceptable dessert, or it's quite useful as a sweetening agent. I use just concentrated frozen fruit juice to bake bread with, or to use in
really?
a sauce. It's delicious.
Now, do you use...
I never use any sugar. I don't use any sugar substitutes.
Oh, I'm going to have to try some of this stuff because I'm a sugar-holic as well as a chocolate-holic. So I've got a big problem here. After you wrote the cookbooks, then you discovered that you had breast cancer.
Yes.
And it's really amazing because I don't think a lot of people realize that 180,000 women this year will be diagnosed with breast cancer, of which 78% of them will be 50 years and older.
Yes.
And the other statistic that a lot of people don't realize is that men can get breast cancer too. Which
Yes, it's a different form of breast cancer. It's quite a serious disease.
It certainly is. When you discovered that you had breast cancer, or what was your reaction and what did you do about it?
Well, I immediately went to a doctor and I unearthed, found out exactly what it was. It had been my own fault because I had not gone for a mammogram in several years. I had just let it slide. And had I would have discovered it much earlier. So as it was, I went to my gynecologist, who sent me to a specialist in breast cancer. And I went for my mammogram, and I immediately went for my surgery. And then I was recommended to an oncologist and then I chose the most effective treatment. I chose chemotherapy because I wanted to make certain that I would not have a recurrence. And so far it's been 8 years.
That's fabulous.
Yes.
Well, you're the picture of health. I mean, just look at you.
Well, I
It's
am.
great.
I'm in very good health, except for my chronic disease of diabetes. But
Well,
aside from that,
That's just a little obstacle.
well, I like to look at these things as having opened up my life and giving me another opportunity to live. I feel that if you have lemons, you make lemonade.
Which is wonderful.
And so that's when I decided to do the books. I made profit from my malady. And after the breast cancer, people used to ask me, well, is there something in your life that you really always wanted to do that would give you pleasure? And I said, well, gee, I don't know. I don't want to go to Timbuktu, and I don't want to do bungee jumping, but I would like to ballroom dance. I've always wanted to dance.
That's
and
great.
that opened a whole new world for me. I never knew that this whole world of competitive ballroom dancing existed.
That is fantastic.
Oh, it was
I didn't
wonderful.
know it either.
I met wonderful people from every walk of life who share this enthusiasm. It's a wonderful mental activity. It's a wonderful physical activity. It gets you traveling all over. It
Oh,
gets
that's
you,
not bad.
No, it's great. Of course, you travel, but you see the inside of a ballroom. You don't often see the neighborhood.
Well, that's true. Well, on various articles that have been published about you, they said that ballroom dancing has changed your life.
Absolutely.
Would you like to explain a little bit about that and how it happened? Or?
Well, it brought me to another subculture. It gave me great self-esteem. It showed me that I could learn something I mean, after all, most people start to do an activity of this aesthetic quality when they're 3 or 5 years old. And I started when I was 59 years old. And I found that with practice and with good training and with serious study, put on absolutely beautiful costumes and with wonderful feathers and make my eye makeup look beautiful and put on my fake fingernails and dance in the arms of a handsome young man.
That's not all bad.
Oh, it's all wonderful. And go out, and actually I have been quite successful in the competitions. I've had many competitions that I dance. I dance 3 rounds and I make it to the top placements, which is
that's pretty
amazes
good.
Me.
Now, you travel all over the world? Or
No, all over the country, although I have been to England to go to Blackpool to watch the world open to the world.
Oh, well, that's got to be
the world's
fascinating.
biggest competition. It's absolutely thrilling to see.
How many
and it's very
couples?
beautiful.
Well, how many couples perform at something
At
like that?
Blackpool, oh, there are hundreds and hundreds of couples from all over the world.
Oh, really?
One more beautiful dancer than the next, one more beautiful costume than the next.
Wow. That's exciting. Now, who
Yeah.
designs your costumes? Or
I have, there are a number of very fine costume designers all over the world, in fact. The gown that you'll see in this film that we're going to run,
Right.
one of them was designed by a charming young friend of mine who lives in Florida.
Ah.
And she made this because I subsequently had a knee injury, and that, of course, for a dancer is not very great. And now when I dance, I have to wear a brace, and I wanted to have a Latin gown designed for myself, which would cover the brace, so that the judges in the audience would not see it. And you'll see it's a beautiful fuchsia pink gown that's just glorious.
Well, are we ready for the roll-in? Okay, because... Why don't you tell us a little bit about this here?
Yes, you can't really see me now, but you'll see me in a few minutes when I start to wiggle. I'm the lady in the fuchsia, behind the one in the front. I'll be in center screen soon. There I am, doing an underarm turn, doing a forward walk. This little girl and look at the little child in the background, how wonderfully he's keeping rhythm.
That's great.
And this is what dancing does for people. People just automatically want to move the minute that they hear the music. And to be able to do it and to do it well is great fun and a great achievement. You can see how happy I look. This brought me tremendous happiness.
Well, I'll tell you, dancing with a gentleman like that would bring anybody happiness. I mean,
That's true.
he is fabulous.
That's quite, yes, he is. He's fourth in the country in American style rhythm dancing.
Now, how long have you been doing ballroom dancing?
I've been dancing 5 years.
You're
I've been
doing
dancing
fabulous.
Yes, I just love it. And after every competition, you criticize yourself for what you see on the video, but you go back and you get better because it gives you a way to improve yourself.
Oh. The other lady that's on the dance floor now?
Yes, she's a young woman. She's not competing against me, but she's absolutely wonderful. She had absolutely great movement.
She looked like she was
Yeah,
having a good time.
she
Everybody
had a
looks like
ball.
they're having a wonderful time with all this.
Well, some people are fearful. I don't get fearful because it's what I do for pleasure.
I guess if it was your profession, you just have a little bit of reserve about it. But like you say, it's
Well, I get an adrenaline rush,
Uh-huh.
but I don't get nervous. I don't fear being out there.
Oh, that's great.
You know, you say to yourself, gee, look at me, look how wonderful I look, and isn't this
The
great?
gowns are gorgeous.
The gowns are beautiful. Wait till you see the next one. The next one is utterly magnificent.
Oh, great.
Yes,
Are
my
we ready
friend
for the
also
next one?
made. It's a beautiful white chiffon, beautiful beadwork on it. These gowns are very intricate in their design, and it just takes a kind of a genius to make them. Here I am with another handsome partner. This is a quick step. That first dance you saw was a merengue.
Merengue.
Yes.
All right. Now, what is the difference between, let's watch the dance here, because then I'll ask the question. I mean, it's just.
Yes, this is a quick step. It's an international smooth dance. It's a fast foxtrot, very fast foxtrot. And you have to notice how beautifully the gowns move. They're created this way in order to enhance the dancing. And you notice the footwork. The man's legs have to be completely synchronized with the women's legs.
Whoa.
They both move at the same time. If you didn't, you'd be on your nose on the floor.
It looks so elegant and so easy.
Well, it's not so easy. The idea is to try to make it to look easy and to make it look as if you're having fun. And it is.
Certainly do look like you're having fun, I'll tell you. I think it's absolutely fabulous.
Yes, it is. This was a fairly recent competition, and there'll be another one in another couple of weeks.
Oh.
Actually,
Whoa.
there's one about every month. There's one every single weekend, but you can't do them all.
That would really take you a long time to practice. Well, how many hours a week do you spend practicing?
I spend about 4 to 6 hours a week with my partners. Then I practice some steps on my own.
And I was going to say, you want to show somebody how to do some dancing here?
Yeah.
Let's wait a bit. What is the difference between ballroom dancing and Latin dancing?
Yes, well, ballroom is a dance that you see done in these long, beautiful gowns. They're the smooth dances. Ballroom would be considered waltz, foxtrot, tango, quick step, Peabody if you were doing the American style. And the Latin dancing are the rhythm dances. Dances which are fast action, which require movement of the hips. And the feet go very quick, and it's kind of stylized, it's sexy.
I was going to say, that's...
Yeah, it's very sexy.
I always love watching people do Latin dancing because it is so sexy.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, whoa, some of these people you see out on the dance floor, can they move?
Well, and you just go to any of the Latin clubs, not let alone a competition. Go to any of the Latin clubs, just really basic, just very human, very wonderful population kind of.
That's
you know,
great.
demographic. The Dominicans dance wonderful merengue and salsa, and there are places all over the city where these dances are done. It's just great.
I think I'm going to have to take some lessons.
Oh, and the music
is
is wonderful. The music just, you saw the little child on the screen, you just can't help but move your body.
True. The other thing that I noticed on the screen was that you're in high heels. I mean,
Yes.
that's, I know.
It's funny that everybody comments. They don't bother me at all.
No, huh? Oh, I'm happy in sneakers, and everybody gets on my case for that. I don't like the high heels.
Well, it's not fair. The teachers, when the women teachers come, they wear small little Cuban heels. Of course, they're on their feet all day. You know, I'm only on my feet an hour or two. But when you're doing competition dancing, each dance only lasts about a minute and a half, so it's really not so terrible.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Oh.
No.
Well, it also makes you move gracefully and just.
Yes, it gives
feel
a beautiful
different.
leg line, and it's what they call pretty feet.
Now,
You know what they said about Ginger Rogers.
no, what they say.
Well, how much better she was than Fred. She had to do it backwards and wearing high heels.
Ah! Oh, I like that. When is your next book on ballroom dancing and how it changed my life coming out?
Well, I'm beginning to give it some thought, and I'm collecting some photographs. I have some photographs that I want to include. Naturally, they're of me.
Well, why not?
This is me in a Latin dress that I could wear before I had my injury.
Wait, hold it. Do we have that shot?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All
Now I
right.
have another one. So this was, I love this one because it just shows my attitude. and you know that attitude is 90%. I hope you know that, Barry.
Yes. It's
You have to
great.
convince people that you're the best. And I'm walking into my partner here and I'm saying, here I come. I'm ready to dance. I'm the very best. Look at me.
Great.
Take me in your arms.
And sweep me a little across the dance floor. Oh, fabulous.
And this what dancing did for me was it gave me enormous self-esteem, and it brought me happiness. And this is how I overcome, you know, the last obstacle that I had.
You had another accident of health, and you were talking about your knee injury.
Yes.
And while you were laid up in recovery, you started another hobby, business,
Yes.
combination?
I just can't waste any time. And while, of course, I was not dancing, I thought a lot about costumes because I still did go to the competitions to watch and to cheer my friends. And I had another one of my funny things that I like to do was to collect teddy bears. And I said, gee, why don't I get some of this wonderful material and feathers and rhinestones and sequins from my friend the costume maker at Dore Designs and let me dress my teddy bears.
That's great.
And so I did. This was the very
these
first
are
one that I
great.
made. This one is in an international ball gown. Actually, it turned out to be a cat. She's a cat. She's not really a bear. She has beautiful little eyelashes. I give them beautiful makeup and eyelashes. This is a little Latin lady in what we call cracked ice. I call her Ming.
Oh, that's
She's,
great.
She's a sweet little one.
I think we're doing great on the camera shots
Yeah.
on these.
And this is another wonderful international
Look at these.
ballroom dancer.
Ooh.
Whoops, she's got her wings back here. She has wonderful rhinestone earrings. And
look at
I have a
this.
great time shopping for the jewelry. I buy a lot of jewelry at flea markets. This is my favorite one. She's a little Latin lady. She's called Fantasia.
Oh,
She has this
fantastic.
wonderful fantasy.
Fantasia.
She's been to the Rainbow Room with me.
Oh,
She may go again this week. She
That
likes
is-
it there.
now you've got some more over here.
Yes, these are two other big bears. This one is called Flutterby.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's all dressed in orange and her chiffon. She's ready to go. She has
Is
a
there-
wonderful expression.
Can-
Now, I have seen expressions on ladies
Oh, yeah?
that look just like these bears.
Wait, I don't think we're on. Oh, here we are. Because I wanted to point out the butterfly earrings.
Yes. She looks like a happy lady. She says, look at me, I'm ready to go out and dance.
Fabulous.
And she has a wonderful color combination. And then the other one is Miss Calico Blue.
Uh-huh.
She's a little bear who's also dressed up in an international style. And the little one, you can pick up the little one. She's a sweet little one.
Oh, this is adorable with her pearl earrings.
Yeah, she has rhinestones on her, lovely rhinestones on her gown. She's all, whoops, stand up. Quite nicely designed. They get tired after they compete. You know, they don't want to stand up.
Now, if somebody calls in and says, where can I get them?
Well, I would hope that they would call you and say that I want a Betty's Teddies. Where can I get them? And you would relay the information.
That'd be wonderful.
Yes.
I think they're
They're
absolutely
charming. They're
great.
wonderful gifts for anybody who dances, anybody who likes bears. And I custom make them.
Oh, that's even better.
Yes, if somebody has a favorite color or a favorite idea, a favorite bear. A lot of people like to have bridal bears made as well.
I never thought
Or
of
a
that.
debutante bear, all in beautiful white with pearls and lace.
Wow.
Yes, it's another idea. So Betty's Teddies is another little, if I hadn't
Another
had my
enterprise.
knee injury, I never would have been launched onto this new little career.
Well, you've taken advantages of, not advantages, you've made lemonade out of lemons,
Absolutely.
which is fabulous.
Had a wonderful time doing it.
Where does your motivation and your drive come from? Because besides all this, you're an excellent photographer.
Yes. Well, I probably got it from my family. Everybody in my family was very energetic and super achievers and good at what they did. And we were taught never to, we didn't have time. For example, as children, my brother and I, it was made perfectly clear in the summertime, either we've got a job or we went to school. But there was never any sitting around allowed. So we began to be enthusiastic about doing many different things. And we learned. The world opened up to us. We learned how to sail, we learned how to play tennis, we learned how to ski, we learned how to, we went traveling, we learned how to sew. Anything that the world presents. The world is filled with wonderful things.
I agree. I've been traveling for years, and everybody says, how can you go by yourself? And I said, I meet so many interesting people traveling by myself, and you just take advantage of everything.
That's right.
Because if you're home, you're not going to take advantage of
That's
anything.
right. You have plenty of time to sit in a rocking chair.
That's right, especially when you're 6 feet under.
That's right.
When you found out that you had all these maladies, Were you angry?
Well, I guess so, but after a while you just, sigh and say, well, what more, what next? What other creative aspect can I find in my life? Surely there must be something else that I'm going to be able to do. So I just think that when the bad things happen, I just have made good things out of them. And I discovered a wonderful source of creativity in designing these bears.
That's
And
wonderful.
I just love doing it. It allows me to be solitary if I want to be, although friends have been with me to help me make them. A good friend helped me make this bear. Cat bear.
Well, it's great because a lot of people like cats, and
Yes.
they like to symbolize their cats that they've got. So hopefully, if you all are listening, you're more than welcome to call or write, and we'll have something designed especially for you.
That would be wonderful.
Do you have any regrets in your life?
I don't really, as Edith Piaf sang, je ne regrette rien. I don't regret anything. But I do wish that I had lived in Paris many years ago when I was there for the first time. Had I done that, I would have been exposed to the great writers and the great artists of the epic in the 50s and 60s. But I didn't. I just went on my travels, and I came back and I started my career.
Would you like to say something in the closing moments of the show to the audience about your philosophy of life? Or
Well, I've kind of expressed my philosophy about being positive about life and about trying to enjoy life to its maximum. I like to be happy myself. I like to try to make other people happy. I don't want to hurt anybody. But I have learned to say no to things that I do not wish to do. And sometimes I have lost some friends. But my attitude is just one of be positive, find the joys in your life, and you'll be able to find the inner strength to overcome many of the things that befall you, and we will all have something as the time goes by, because it sure beats the alternative.
That's true. I think that's wonderful. Betty, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you,
We've
Barry.
enjoyed having you and all your teddies. I love it. And thank you, audience, for joining us today. You've heard a lot about Betty and her accidents of health and how she's turned she's turned lemon into lemonades.
It would be a good trick to turn lemonade into lemon.
We'll start another business.
Well, I would just like to hope that I might be of some inspiration and some help.
I think
to
you've been
people.
wonderful, because a lot, like you say, a lot of people just would rather sit home and feel sorry for themselves than get out and see the world and say, okay, let's conquer this challenge and get on with our lives. Thank you very much for joining us. Please come again, and we've like to hear about your stories. So please write me at the station. Thank you. See you soon. You got your credits going on.